with you from 8.4 is on page 420, and it's about the Empire State Building. So let's read through the problem together. The elevators in the Empire State Building can pass 80 floors in 45 seconds. Follow the steps below to find the number of floors that the elevators can pass in 9 seconds. So we're going to write the first ratio that was given to us, and it says that the elevator can go past 80 floors in 45 seconds, and we're trying to figure out how many floors it will pass in 9 seconds. Remember, seconds are on the bottom in both proportions. So if it were me, I would see that all I have to do is divide 45 by 5 and to get 9, and therefore I could also divide 80 by 5, okay? And that would be 16. But because the example, I'm trying to show you different ways, you can do that. If I was the student, that's the way I would do it. But the textbook gives the example using algebra. So we're trying to solve for x, which is the number of floors in 9 seconds. We want to get our variable alone. How do we do that? By doing the inverse operation. It's divided by 9. So we are going to multiply both sides by 9. Okay? That makes that go away. We have x left by itself. You could multiply 80 times 9 and get 720 over 45. But you might remember, I'm always looking for the shortcut, the easier thing. In my mind, it's easier to cross-reduce. And so I end up with 80 over 5, which you might remember is how it worked out in the other method. So I'm doing 80 divided by 5 anyway. Okay, and long division would show you that 80 divided by 5 is 16. So the elevator can cover 16 floors in 9 seconds. All right, I want you to work out number 9 by yourself. I'm not going to say anything. I will be writing some stuff on the board, but you read through number 9 on page 420 in guided practice and see what you come up with, and then I will go over it after I pause. All right, so now you've had time to answer it. It says, suppose the elevators in example 3 could pass 70 floors in 63 seconds. How many floors could the elevator pass in 9? Now, because this is independent, you could pick whichever way you want. I'm going to pick the way I want, which would be to divide 63 by 7. That would give me 9. And when you divide 70 by 7, that gives you 10. So in 9 seconds, the elevator could pass 10 floors. Okay, that is the last example I'm going to go over from 8.4. Please shoot me an email if you're still having trouble, and I can try to do some of them with you, FaceTime or whatever. I am going to go into 8.5 because it's still about solving proportions, and it's using the cross products property, which is my preferred method. So I'm going to go ahead, because the two lessons are similar, I'm going to go ahead and teach you that third way. And then you can pick whichever way you want as you go through the problems in both 8.4 and 8.5. When it tells you to solve the proportion, sometimes the text will say use cross products to solve the proportion, or it might say use equivalent ratios or use algebra. You use the method that works best for you. I've shown you that you can get the answer any of 2 ways, and I'm about to add a third. So at any point in the rest of chapter 8, you use the method that you prefer, that's easiest for you. So looking on page 423 at the top, there is a a word problem. It says a person who weighs 105 pounds on Earth would weigh about 17 pounds on the moon. And it's actually 17.5. We better follow the directions here. And the question is, about how much would a 60-pound dog weigh? So pounds on the top. Whoops. Yes. How much would a 60-pound on Earth dog weigh if he was on the moon? And so remember, you have to keep the order the same in proportion. So this is Earth weight on the numerator, and this is moon weight or lunar weight on the bottom. Okay. If you go through the instructions on 423, it will explain how to do this. There's another example 1 with different numbers. It goes over the same math. I'm going to go ahead and finish out this question, which is actually example 2 on the next page, 424. It says to find the weight, W, and we used an X. That doesn't matter. You can choose any variable that you like, except I wouldn't use O. We've talked about that. Of a 60-pound dog on the moon, as described on page 423, write and solve a proportion using the weight of the person. So they spent the previous page explaining to you how to do cross products. I'm going to explain it with this problem. All right, cross products means that we go across here. Emmy refers to this as the butterfly method. I think some of the other students have called it that as well, but you're just cross multiplying. 105 times x is written like that, and then I need to figure out 17.5 times 60, and that's this other half of the butterfly. Okay. Bring my decimal point down. So 105x will equal 1050. And now we have an algebra problem again. So to get the variable alone, I do the inverse operation, which is division of both sides by 105. And if you need to work that out, it should look like this. 105 goes into 105 once, and there's a 10. The answer is 10. So a 60-pound dog would weigh 10 pounds on the moon. All right, that's the third method of solving proportions. I am going to work through example 3 because it's pretty tricky, and after we do it, I'm going to use that information to walk you through guided practice number 5. Because when I first looked at it, I was a little bit stumped, guided practice number 5. So I had to go back and go through the penguin example, and we're going to do that together now. Okay, example 3. There are 50 penguins at an aquarium. The ratio of rockhopper penguins to African penguins is 3:7. But the question is, how many of the 50 are rockhoppers? So we're going to let the book kind of walk us through this. First, it tells us that we need to determine the ratio of rockhoppers to total penguins. We know that there are 3 rockhopper penguins whenever there are 10 penguins. And let me explain that. So the first ratio that we're given is 3:7. If there are 3 rockhoppers and 7, African penguins, then we know the total number of penguins when there are 3 rockhoppers is 10. So our first ratio of rockhopper penguins to all the penguins is actually 3:10, not 3:7. Remember, they're always trying to trick you, so you really have to go through. I appreciate in this one that they explained to you how to get the 10, okay? Then you go back to the original question, and it says, if the ratio is 3:7, but we know that the ratio we need is 3:10, how many are rockhoppers of the 50? So rock hoppers is going to be in the numerator, and that is what we don't know. So I'm going to put an X over the total number of penguins, which is 50. I'm going to do cross products. Again, you do what works best for you. I will show you real quickly that if you just multiply 10 times 5, you would get 50, and you could multiply 3 times 5 to get 15, but because we're in the cross products lesson, I am going to work out another one using the butterfly method. So 3 times 50 is 150 equals, multiplying 10 to x. I need to do the inverse operation to both sides. 150 divided by 10 is 15. And so there are 15 rockhopper penguins in an aquarium that has 50 penguins. Okay? All right. Because I think this is so helpful in solving number 5, I'm going to leave it on the board, and we're going to jump down to number 5 at the bottom of 424. In John's class, the ratio of boys to girls is 5 to 8. Okay? The question is, there are 39 total students in the class. Okay, I'm going to write this one backwards just because you need to get used to seeing it done either way. So 39 kids in each class, and in this class in number 5, and the ratio is 5 to 8. They want to know how many girls are in the class of 39. So if there are 8 girls out of 13 students, again, I'm adding 5 plus 8, okay? Then I can add that on this side. I'm trying to find out the number of girls out of 39, cross multiply. 13x equals 39 times 8. And that would be a 2, 7, 312. Divide by 13. And x will equal, this would go 2 times, and 13 goes into 52, I believe, 4 times. Yes. All right, so there should be 24 girls in a class of 39. All right, so in order to fit in the time that this video will run, I have about a minute left. I'm going to quickly give you the even answers on page 425 so you can work some of these problems out to make sure that you're doing it correctly. I'm just going to run through the 2 columns at the bottom of 425. Number 2, you should get 25. Number 6, 8. Number 10, 8. Number 14, 6.25. And then the third column, number 4, you should get 12. Number 8, 35. Number 12, 7. And number 16, 44. These 2 lessons will cover Wednesday and Friday. So refer back to this video if you need to. Please email me if you have any questions. And please know I am praying for all of you, and I miss you, and look forward to hearing from you on email. All right.